Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you to, this is like a really important segment that we're doing. This show, by the way, this is going to air on the Dr. Pat Show and also on my Unstuckable show. Why? Because you're about to hear some things that your mama never told you when you were starting your business. But everybody should know when you enter the world and you decide you're going to go out there, what is the term we're using? Entrepreneur. What do you need to know? You know, so often, and you all have heard me do many shows on this, especially during the pandemic, of how many businesses are out there, how many businesses can run with you, run without you, how many businesses don't even know what to do anymore. And how many of these owners of business are looking at themselves and saying, I don't know how to get out of here. I'm just sitting here. I think I want to pass the baton. Today, joining me is somebody that's going to touch upon these things and so many more. Why? Because we need to have information. And, you know, Linda Jensen, when we're talking about Linda, and we're talking about all the things she does, you know, owner of Heart Financial Group, certified exit planning advisor, somebody that all of us should have a conversation with. Now, you're probably looking at me and saying, why, Pat? You've been in business 20 years. Why would you? Why? Because you really need to understand the landscape that you're in. We are a company that needs to go on long after I move out of operations. But we're also a company that doesn't know where to even start that. Linda, thank you for joining me here today. So many things to talk about. I want to start with you first, though. 20 years for this corporation. Unlimited possibilities now, 20 years. That, according to many people, is bizarre, especially for, the numbers say, a woman-owned business. But, you know, this doesn't happen without failing a few times, going up, going down, going sideways. But you're here today because there are many questions that we are very afraid to ask ourselves, but we must. Thank you for taking this landscape on. Thank you for getting out there talking about it. Because unless we demystify and open up the door for people to have a conversation, many more businesses are going to go out the door without a plan, right? What do you think? Welcome to the show.
Absolutely, Pat. And I've been in the financial services industry for 30 years. The failure rate in my industry is 90%, by the way. And when I started out, you know, it was just me and a lot of guys, right? So I totally
you and me both.
Yeah, I know. I totally understand what you're saying. And, you know, in the book, there's a little bit about the success of businesses and, you know, out of 10 businesses that start in a year, only 5 will be left after 5 years, right? Or 10 years. And so, you know, the failure rate is really high and there's so many obstacles for that business to really, to navigate, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And, you know, I'm not kidding when I say we don't know what we don't know. I want to hit you up with a couple of really important things, Linda, in the short time we have together, because I was talking to a couple of people about the show that we were going to do together today. And they say, Pat, this is really a sidebar for you because you're known as the Queen of Optimism. This is really my colleagues. They said you created what is known as positive centric media. Why are you going to talk about something like this? And I had to explain to them that positive centric media doesn't mean we don't talk about the tough things. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about this. Can a business run without you? Now, let me just tell you, last year, I had to go away to New Jersey to take care of a very, very, very ill best friend. My business ran without me, to my surprise. I was engaged in it, but I wasn't there every day. That was eye-opening for me. But I want to talk to you about what people need to know. Having said that, if my friend didn't get sick, I would have never discovered that. But I also discovered what we have to do better from that. Where do you find are the greatest potholes that people step in? And Linda, what have you stepped in? Nobody writes a book like this without having stepped in a few potholes.
I know. Well, I've wasted a lot of marketing dollars for one. Right? I've hired the wrong people. I could tell you lots of stories about that. But, I would say for business owners, they don't know what they don't know, right? And I think for the most part, they're so deep in their trench running their business that they really don't understand about how to exit. And I would say my motivation in writing the book, Pat, was the fact that only 20% of businesses sell. And with so many baby boomers that'll be exiting, in the next 10 years or so, when I crunch the numbers, there could be millions of businesses going away because out of, let's say, 1,000 businesses, only 200 will sell. Another very disturbing statistic is the fact that 50% of businesses sell involuntarily. And this is a storytelling book, by the way.
Yes.
I did almost 20 interviews. I interviewed 4 faculty of the Exit Planning Institute. And every one of these advisors who work in exit planning told me stories where they're working with somebody to plan their sale of their business and they drop dead. So, we have what we call the 5 Ds, right? And the 5 Ds are death, divorce. Let's say you have partners that are married, they get divorced. That could be a problem. Disagreements like with your partner or somebody else, duress, like COVID or a lawsuit, something like that, or a disability.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for that? I actually cover that in the book. If you're interested in knowing how on earth you can prepare for those possible eventualities.
Yeah. And I'm glad we're bringing it up because we're going to dig. First of all, thank you for writing a book about stories, because that is, for me, that was the engagement factor, is being able to read and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one on the planet that has gone through this or gone through this. And I think that is what's the right word here, Linda? That is the plight of entrepreneurs when they think that they are alone. And I say entrepreneur, you could be anywhere from a small business to an entrepreneur owning a corporation. You're still that person if you are 100% in there. But even if you're not, you still go through these things. What was underneath this for you in one shining a light on this in this way?
Well, I tell you what, I'm really committed to change these stats for one.
Thank you.
So, the book is on Kindle for 99 cents. I just recorded the Audible version. I've decided to change publishers. I'll be publishing with Amazon, and I've hired a publicist. And so I really, really want to get the word out here and change these stats. In fact, I'm really hoping that I can connect with a reporter that would help me get this to national attention. In fact, yesterday I had a meeting locally. I'm in Washington State with the Association of Washington Businesses. They have 7,000 members. And I gave them copies of the book and talked to them about this. And so just so you know, locally, they're going to be introducing me to a bunch of legislators and congressmen, state senators and something like that, because I also want to interview these congressmen who have a heart for businesses, educate them about this problem. Yeah. And they will understand, businesses, Pat, you and I both know we're also having to navigate inflation, right? And so, it's hard enough to run a business. Inflation is really a problem. And so I want these politicians to understand that they need to be thinking about trying to help these businesses. Yeah. And I'm just really trying to do what I can to change these numbers. I think it would just be unconscionable that millions of businesses disappear in the U.S. I start the book with a story of locally, a 53-year-old business that closed its doors. Why? The owner had cancer for the 5th time, and I think she was just too exhausted, right, Pat?
Yeah.
And so she literally gave her clients away and sold the building. Now,
Yeah.
if she had been in a state of readiness, she could have sold it, right? And that business still would have continued without her. But that business went away. And that's what I want to prevent.
Yeah. Look, I want to talk to you about this a little bit further. The book is filled with so many things, but reaching out to your governments, your Congress, I have called both of our senators. I have called our Congress people. By the way, best interview I ever did was with old school Congressman McDermott. I don't know if you remember him. But I've called them. Do you know why I call them? Because I'm not like you. I don't have your knowledge, but I understand the pain. You know why I call them? I said, do you want to win an election? Then make sure that you are giving the wipe away for all of these EIDL loans that us small businesses had to take during COVID that we are paying back. And I said, I think it's great what you're doing with student loans. Great. But you kind of forgot small businesses. Hundreds of thousands, small businesses that were grateful, like me, to get these disaster loans, they're called, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us didn't think, Linda, we had to pay them back. And when we got the payback bill, we're like, what the, right?
Tell me about it. I know. So when I met with the Association of Washington Businesses yesterday, they had stats. They said 54% of all the revenue in the state comes from businesses, and the rest comes as an accessory to that, right? So basically, they need businesses here in the state.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what their revenue is dependent on. And that's what I want to educate them about on a local level and hopefully take this national.
Yeah. Please. This state, Washington State, which you and I are both, we're both in Washington State. So just so the audience knows, but I'm also from the East Coast. How are we different? You go to New Jersey and New York and Connecticut, and the infrastructure is around larger corporations, mega corporations on every exit like you go up Route 78. There's a mega, I worked for one for 25 years. That's how I know. Washington State is different.
Right.
We are different. We are the hub for small businesses that fuel, and this is me now, a handful of large corporations, albeit we've got some Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing, we've got those, but we're not like other cities. And small businesses are literally the backbone here. Don't you think?
I believe so. And by the way, I grew up on the East Coast too, near Philly. And I went to college near New York City and West Point. But, so I used to say it was rat race and rats were winning, right? Which is why I left. But I gotta tell you, Pat, I drove my husband out here. First night we're in Seattle, right? And we go to cross the street after going to a movie. And the light is red. Everybody's just patiently waiting. And my husband looked at me and says, Linda, it's really civilized out here. I said, yeah, I know. Back home, you'd be roadkill, right? Standing on that corner. So culturally, it's very, very different. But, small businesses are everywhere. There are 33.2 million small businesses in the U.S., and they are in every community. And that's what we want to keep, because small businesses actually are important to their communities. Pat, and they do a lot of contributions into their communities. In fact, usually they give back about 6% of their profits to their local communities, right? So small businesses are very important. And so, we don't want them to disappear, because I care for not only the business owners and their families and their legacy, but the folks that work for them and their families and their communities that they serve.
Yeah. I want to ask you, let's talk about the real meat of this. Exit strategy. I love this. Having a corporate HR background, exit strategy was when we did career planning, believe it or not, we were one of the first to talk about what's your exit strategy. And people would look at us like, what? I thought we were talking about my career. No, I want to talk to you, yes, about your career, but what's your exit strategy? If things don't go the way you want, what's your game plan? Are you planning for your next job? Are you thinking about that? Are you thinking about the what if? Fast forward to where we are today, and almost everybody I coach with an exit strategy in mind first, because we're living in a different world. The repeal of the psychological contract of employment is gone, but we don't talk about it for businesses. Let's have that conversation. We have to have one. And let me just ask you this question. I'm a perfect example. I have to have an exit strategy, not just for my business, but I have a game plan. Once our technology is finished and launched, right? Brand new, never been created before in my field. I want to go back out on the road. I want to go back out and talk. I have to have a strategy to do that so that the company has what it needs.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you don't want to do that. Let's say you just can't keep the machine going. What do we need to know?
Boy, I will tell you, and I sort of relate to what you're talking about. We're making a big shift too. Our specialty is tax strategies, making a business more profitable. And so we're doing a lot with, collected a lot of these. We'll be doing marketing. So I'm in your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would tell you my favorite chapter in the book is about value acceleration. And that was a methodology developed by the Exit Planning Institute. My strategic partner last year, Pat, the average client's profits went up 65% and the revenue 43%. What does it take to do that? About 4 hours a month and $3,000. I think it's worth that investment, right?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, already I'm getting ready to write your phone number down to call you.
I know. So anyway, I'm working with a business right now. They were great till COVID. Guess what? Today, 80% of their revenue is coming from 2 customers. You can't sell that business. They're also in staffing, temp staffing, and they've done a lot with light manufacturing. They're concerned about robotics. So I'm referring them to my strategic partner because he can solve that problem. Pat, the first half of the book outlays all these issues. The second half is a lot of resources. I really believe in resources. I just connected somebody who's created a spine instrumentation device company. He needs $10 million. I'm connecting with an M&A guy with a family office to hopefully provide that $10 million, right? I've got another person that I'm basically created a job for themselves, right? That I'm connecting both to my strategic partner for value acceleration and also the M&A person. Because with the family office, it's not like you're selling it outright. You see, you can get some capital that you need to take your business in the direction you want to go and grow it. One of the things I love about value acceleration is you're always in a state of readiness. So you can decide whether to grow your business or to sell it. And so you're not going to be a victim of the 5 Ds, for example.
Yeah. I love what you're talking about. Can I tell you why? Mm-hmm. A person like me, and this is why I was so excited to talk with you, because we are a perfect fit for you and your partner. Our company is a perfect fit for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. But the launch of our new technology is one of them. And the desire for investors is another one. But the thing that I really love about what we're talking about now is how do you now look at your company to know what you need to do to pivot it up in the value game, right? If you're getting ready to sell or even have a conversation about selling a company, what do you need to do? And maybe you don't want to sell your whole company. Maybe there's a part of it that you want to offshoot, but we don't even know the right questions to ask here.
Oh, and I totally agree. I really believe the average business owner doesn't know what questions to ask, and they don't know what options they have. My role is to educate them, provide those options so they can make informed decisions based on facts. And Pat, I think what you're describing comes back to that value acceleration methodology. In that chapter of the book, which is chapter 6, I have a QR code where if somebody wants to contact me, I can send them a URL. It'll take them about 15 minutes and they can do an assessment of their business. That assessment will give them an informal valuation of the business, peg it to best in class, and identify any gaps that they have going on. They refer to that as the 24 levers of health. One of the stories in the book is one of their case studies. There was a business earning $5 million a year, wanted to sell it. It was worth $0. The reason was they had created a job for themselves, right? So they worked with my partner and in 3 years sell that business for $12 million, right? Yeah. They had another business that they kept and it's pulling in another $6 million a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is really so important. Linda, let's take a minute. How do people get the book? Let's talk about that. And how do they find out more about you?
Well, the book is on Amazon, all the major outlets. And then for me, you can go to loweryourtaxestoday.com is a website and you can schedule an appointment there. I bought a URL for the book. It's just, what is your exitstrategy.com. That's redirected to Amazon. I haven't had time to create a landing page. We just published the book like a month ago,
Yeah. Well, the book is important to get. So the quickest way to get to the book, that's what people want to know.
Yeah. So I would say, Amazon is good. And, it's on Barnes & Noble and everybody else. Kindle is only 99 cents. The Audible should be coming out by the beginning of November.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about something that is very much on people's minds, at least the people I talk to. We're getting ready to launch a conscious business channel. So we are talking to quite a few people. And it's very important to do that. We are a network that has flagship channel, Transformation Talk Radio. I own the network. That's the Transformation Network. Unlimited Possibilities now is the corporation. But under this, we have created a venue 15 years ahead of time for live video production. So basically, our network moves beyond podcasting. We get podcasting to people for free. And so here we are as this network, but we are like so many. We planned our technology. We took the COVID time to up-level it. It's now really incredible. We're testing it, but we're like everybody else. We made it through COVID, but not without This is, I'm going to give you a couple quotes from my friends. They wanted me to say to you, borrowing a lot of money to get through, now not having a way to consolidate it. Small Business Association consolidations for 10 years are almost ridiculous to get if you show no profit. And so this is now a different conundrum for people that may not want to have an exit strategy, but don't see any other option.
Yeah, and that's tough. And, and I say it comes back to that value acceleration. Yeah. They're going to really identify those. And part of the process, like I said, use a QR code. I can email you a link. I would start there, identify your gaps, and then I can connect you with them. And they will do an assessment and some more work for free, by the way. And then you can decide if you want to hire them.
Wow.
If you go to their website, I can point somebody, if they talk to me, to their website. They have a lot of case studies on the website. Like I said, what gets my attention, because I'm a geeky numbers kid, right, is 65% increase in profits and 43% in revenue. By the way, this year, they're on track to improve those numbers.
Yeah. This is really what people want to hear. I know your book is called What is Your Exit Strategy? And that's so important. But the things that you're talking about are what I like to consider the stepping stones of decision making. And what you're really giving people is a proactive way to look at their future. And why am I saying that? Because if we don't do this proactively, the day will come where we'll wake up and we'll just look in the mirror and say, what the heck happened? And we don't want that, do we, Linda? I know I don't.
No, we don't, Pat. And see, there's ways. The first half of the book lays out the problems. The second half is there's a lot of resources.
Yeah,
and that's what I do all day long, is connect people with resources to turn this around. And, Pat, everybody wants peace of mind, don't they? And I think most business owners feel like they're silos, that they're alone. But I want them to know they're not alone. And if they get engaged with this, they're still in control. And I will tell you, I think sometimes, if you create that team, that exit planning team, which I highly recommend, business owners are reluctant to do that because they're afraid that they're going to give up control. But see, by doing those things, you actually gain more control.
Yeah. Linda, thank you so much for today. And I have to tell you, I'm not kidding. People like me, we're perfect fits for this. And I don't want to get people listening to the show because this makes everybody that hears me talk get worried. The Dr. Pat show and Dr. Pat's not going away. That is not what we're talking about. The company's not going away. But we need now to have a new direction. Einstein said this, you cannot solve the problem at the level it was created. And we keep trying to do that. What you're offering is the new way. You're not offering a solution at the level the problem was creating. You're going above that. And that is truly what we need now. Feeling alone? Myself, so many of us that went through the past 4 or 5 years really understand that. But what you said is important. It's the cornerstone for my company. When we do shows for people, you get a team here. You're no longer alone. But we have yet to find someone like you that is saying, you will have a team here to walk you through this, to understand your business, to help you to maybe raise the bar, to make some changes, to create more value, and to help you make better decisions. And I wanted to thank you for that, Linda.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. This has really been a lot of fun.
Again, how do we find out about you? And again, how do we get the book?
Yeah, so the book is on Amazon and everywhere. What is your exit strategy? And if business owners, I would point you to a website. It's called loweryourtaxestoday.com. This is a work in progress. I keep adding more tax strategies because our mission statement is we are your tax planning partner. Our goal is to provide strategies to lower your business, increase your business profits, increase your business valuation, and increase the business multiple in the event of a sale or an exit. And we do that with strategies to lower your expenses and taxes, is in a nutshell what we do.
I love it. Linda, thank you so much for everything. And the book is on Amazon, right?
Absolutely.
All right. And you know how to find that, everybody. It's easy to get into what is your exit strategy. All you need to do is put it in. You'll see a lot of information. Kindle's available, 99 cents. Audiobook is coming out shortly.
Yeah.
All right.
Beginning of November. Mm-hmm.
Last question. What's your personal message? What do you want to leave us with?
There's always hope, you see. Things can change and you have a lot of support, right? Don't feel that you're alone. There's a lot of support out there, and getting engaged can really affect your bottom line.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for everything. For all of you out there, we just barely touched the surface. There's a lot more in the book and a lot more help on the way. We'll see you next time.